Okay, hey guys, just going to show you how to make a quick tool to remove the nipple on your percussion cap rifle. Now this can be applied basically anytime. So this can basically be applied anytime that you need to make a wrench of any kind. So what I'm going to make is a tool that's going to take this nipple out. So what I did, first of all, is I've taken a pair of calipers and we've measured that. And I made it just a teeny snug bigger. Like, I'm talking just a hair bigger. Not even a 16th of an inch. Not one little tick on the one of these is it bigger. So it's just ever so slightly bigger. And that's so when you put your calipers to trace, you don't have to do as much filing. It's better to have it too small than too big, because you can always file some off as to having to make a new tool. So what I've used for my material is I've got lots of these metal plates. They're from panel knockouts. I do electrical work, so quite often I'm putting panels in where these come out, and instead of just chucking them away because they're perfectly good metal, I always hold on to them for other things, future projects. Anytime I need to make something out of metal, or if I need to pop rivet something in fasteners, I mean, there's a whole bunch of uses that I can make these things into. So we're going to do one, and we're going to make a tool. So I've got this. I've got one already traced out, ready to go. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut this out with my little hacksaw, and we're going to need a drill, a clamp, a block of wood. One of these jeweler's hacksaws are great. These are for fine work with metal. You're going to definitely want spare blades because these break quite easily. And then various sets of files. I like the small ones for this work because you're going to have to get into that little space there and of course file down all the burrs. And for cosmetic reasons, I've made it rounded and tapered, so I can turn this into like a medallion hanging around my neck if I wanted to. If I'm out in the woods, I can attach it to my keychain. I could put it on my, I mean, there's a whole bunch of uses where I could put it, where I can make it useful. So this is just basically a nipple wrench that we're making. If you're in bike mechanics and you have to do truing of the wheels, and you have to turn the nipples on your spokes, you can also make one of these for that. I just came up with this just on the spot. This is the first time I've ever made one, but I know it's going to work. So let's get started. I'm going to take my access area, that's the piece with the bunch that I'm going to cut off, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to clamp it down onto this piece of wood. Once I've got it in a way that I can hold it, because as you can see, I'm a little bit gibbled. There we go. Back that off. So it's just a little clamp, and I'm just going to clamp that on to there. Now I want to get this edge so I'm not cutting through wood. So I'm just going to move that up so the edge of it's right onto there, and I can snug it down. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start cutting that. I have a broken finger right now, so don't mind the big ugly bandage. So I'm just going to cut along here. The trick is to go lightly. If you go too hard, you're going to snap your blade, and you'll have to get a new blade on there. So just take some patience, and I'm going to go ahead and just keep working on this until I cut it off. To save battery time, I'm just going to turn off the camera until the next stage. Okay, so I've got this edge cut. Now there's a sharp burr on there because I've just, well, cut it off with a hacksaw. So now's the time to get your file out. Just bent my file trying to get it out here. Just try and straighten that back out. And all we're going to do here, take our edge and just take that fur off. Looks like we're going to need a more powerful file. This one's a little too fine. Okay, I think this will work. So we're just going to take this right here basically, and we're just going to pull out a little bit. And we're just going to file that down. I've got my rough form. I haven't cut my slit in yet. I just wanted to get off the burr so I'm not cutting myself while I work on this. There we go. And now, just try and take out that hump. There. I can live with that, and I'm going to need to taper this end down a little bit, but we'll do that at the end. We're going to cut this slit in now, and then we're going to round out those edges. And when we get that, our tool is almost done. We'll just then perfect it, do some filing, and just make it sort of so it doesn't have any sharp edges on it. And then we'll go ahead and drill our hole for basically putting a clasp or a loop through it. So, yeah, I'm going to, I guess I'll clamp this down on the piece of wood. We'll go about there, because we're going to cut in, then bend that piece out and nip it. Basically cutting it. It's really easy to do. That way we don't have to constantly keep cutting little sections out. Sorry, I was just trying to find my clamp here. So we'll take that, put that on to about there. Set that there, and we're just going to take this and saw along one of those lines. The hardest part is getting these hacksaws started, but once you get started, it should cut no problem. So, now we need a pair of needle nose or something to grab that piece we just cut and try and pull it out. There we go. And we'll just either curl it up or pull it away. That's what I want to do. Now, just take this and, sorry, I'm trying to find my alignments. I'm just going to press that down. That is just a piece of metal. And now we're going to pull it back up, and it should snap off real soon. I'll just pull that down again. Every time I do that, it weakens, and it will just break off. There. Almost. There. Alright, now it's time for the file. So I take the little one. We're just going to work it in there so we don't see any black line. That looks pretty good. I'm just going to go test it for size before I start perfecting on it, because if I made this too big, I'll just have to start over. Well, it looks like we got a ways to go yet. It doesn't fit, so that's good. It's better than it being too big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get one of my stronger files here and just continue to work on it. I'm going to use this one. It's got a nice flat edge, and just keep working on it until we get it, basically. Flip this around so we get an even grind on it. I'm going to work on my block of wood here, so yeah, we're just going to keep filing this, basically this keyhole for the nipple until it fits. And then when we do that, then we can round it off and shape our tool to our designed fit. I'm just going to go try that on the nipple. Yeah, I've got a little ways to go yet, so I've got to open this right up. I'm going to see my calipers on there again and size it. Yeah, I definitely need to get bigger. Alright, so as you can see, this tool fits into the percussion cap nipple, no problem, and if I want, I can turn it. So it does turn. So that tool is going to work. So now it's time to refine the tool so it's a little more user-friendly. And the way we make it more user-friendly is we want to round off these edges, so when you turn it, it's going to rotate in there and not going to catch a hook. So just going to file now the edges round, and basically that'll be that. We're going to drill one little hole in the back just for a loop so we can put something on it so it can go on a keychain or something, just so we don't lose it. So now we just want to take off this sharp corner right here and here. So this file's a bit too coarse. I'm going to use this finer file, and we're just going to work those corners around. And I'm going to go to the more coarse file once I get a start on it. On this other side now. Oh, I gotta make this a bit more tight so we're not losing the tool. Get the point of that. So I'm just gonna fine up these edges here, and we will see when we're ready to drill our hole through there. Alright, so we've got our tool and we are about to drill our little hole. Now I think my battery is dead, so I might have to charge it, but we'll see if this is thin enough. Yeah, barely even phase it. Okay, we're going to have to wait. So yeah, we're just going to charge up the battery and we'll get this drilled through. Alright, so here's my tool. Just carved my initials into it, very crappily, but Can't see it very well because my camera has a stupid autofocus thing that just has its own little mind, and it just works on its own, and there's nothing I can do about it. So I apologize for the shitty lighting as well. There's plenty of light in this room, but for some reason my camera just fucking has its own mind of its own. So anyway, we're going to drill our little hole. Almost. Fuck off. You kidding me? Fucking out of battery again? This is a shit fucking drill. Yeah, it's time for a new drill. Oh well, I just got through it, so that's good enough. But yeah, it's time for a new drill. Okay, so we've got that drilled out. So now's the time you can put a loop on there. I'm just going to use this piece of copper here because, well, it's convenient. So I'm going to use this piece up here. I'm going to get out some wire cutters and needle nose. Actually, I just need needle nose because they got wire cutters on them. Just cut that piece off. Take our tool. We're going to take this, loop it through, and just make a D-ring. If you really want to get fancy, you can solder the copper loop closed so it doesn't come undone, but I'm not really going to worry about it yet. If it bothers me, I can always solder it later. But what I'm just trying to do is just try and get this so it wants to stay as one piece without fraying. So I'm just sort of twisting it around itself to make a loop, just so you can put a string around through there if you wanted. But there you go. That's all it is. So that's our nipple, a nipple wrench, basically, to... Oh, there we go. So we have our nipple wrench. And I'll give you a quick demonstration. Now that it's all together, pull out our gun. So, we will zoom in on the percussion cap nipple. And there we go. So, okay, I can already see what I want to do is I'm going to want to make this tool just a tad bit thinner so I can rotate it around in there. But as you can see, it works. I've got my nipple to turn. So, and now it can be taken out by hand. So once, if my hand could get a grip of it. Oh fuck. Sorry about that. I've only got one hand right now because of the injury. But anyways, it makes it a lot easier than trying to fuck around with it with other tools or needle nose where you'll scar it up. I'm sure you could go out and buy a nipple tool, but why go out and buy one when you can just make one within the course of, I'd say, about half an hour or less. It took me a little bit longer because I was making a video and I had to charge up my drill. But anyways, like you can see, it definitely works. What I want to do is just make this tool a tad bit thinner, as in narrow profile here. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. So there's a narrower profile here. And I'm sorry, it looks like it's fucking nighttime because of this shit fucking lighting that we got here. Yeah, you can't see anything. But anyways, just take my word for it. It works. And we're just trying to get this out. But it's been stubborn because of anytime you go on camera, it all fucks up. It's always the case. So there you go, nipples out. I don't even think you guys can see anything I'm doing here, so I'm just going to slip that back in, and just shows you how to take that out. So now when you clean your gun, it's going to be a lot easier. There's not too much fucking around. Let's just put it that way. So, yeah, I'm just going to try and get this back in here without too much difficulty. I really need to make this tool thinner. It's just a fraction too fat to want to turn smoothly in here. I mean, it works better than nothing. It is working. It's just, I think I can make this tool work a little bit smoother. I mean, I could flip it around each time, because I got one side thin enough. But anyways, we'll just hand thread that in for now, and we'll snug her down. So, but you can basically get the idea of it, and you can see it works pretty well. So that's now back snug, and I'm just going to let that down lightly. So there you go, a basic nipple wrench. Very easy to make. And how much did it cost? Well, nothing but my labor. I didn't even buy the pieces of metal. They're just scraps. Basically things that you would throw away. So there you go. There's just a very basic tool.